Hey, what's going on, everyone? Dave Knittel here. Today is Wednesday, May 23rd, 2018, and I am going to give you another update on my entrepreneur vlog journey here. So I'm back on the West Coast. I'm on my couch right now. My normal recording setup is not set up. I got in late last night and wasn't able to get that set up. So coming to you live from my couch. Real quick, so I flew through LAX, and just going off of a slight tangent here, I don't know what the heck is going on at that airport. So first off, they dropped us off in where they like fix the planes, and then they had to charter buses to wherever the heck the terminal was. I was late for my flight, so I flew through there from Philly through LAX, and when we got to the terminal where they dropped us off, I ran to gate 52 in order to make my flight. Get to gate 52. Turns out gate 52 isn't a real gate, but is rather 8 gates, A through J. I don't know if the math works out, but whatever. It's a bunch of gates that they have to bus you to. I don't know why they're all called 52. It's 52 A, B, C, D, and so on and so forth, up to whatever. I think it's I or J. I can't remember, but it doesn't matter about that. But I don't know why they're called 52. I wouldn't have run to gate 52 if I had known that there was no chance I would make my flight. So I was stranded in LAX for an hour, but ended up making it back to my house in San Jose, or my apartment in San Jose, by the end of the night. So that was my little travel journey. So that's a long-winded way of saying that's why I don't have my recording all set up. Before we get into things, if you have any questions, comments, feedback, or whatnot, definitely feel free to leave a comment. If you're watching this thing live on YouTube, say hello. I would love to interact with you. And if not, if you're watching in the future, still feel free to leave a comment, and I can respond to that. So for those who may not know, I have 3 different soccer entrepreneurial projects that I'm working on right now. I have Fan Futsal, which is a simplified fantasy soccer website. I have the Soccer Tavern, which is a YouTube channel making videos about the history, culture, and philosophy of the beautiful game. And I have Bros Talking Soccer, which is a weekly podcast I do with my 2 brothers talking about stories from around the soccer world. So on a Fan Futsal front, we started our Futsal tournament. So for those who have seen our previous vlogs, we are partnering with Futsal, which is a rebounder type of device that can be used for training, for soccer training, as well as it can play like a racquetball style game. So you kick the ball into this. It's almost like a pitchback device for anyone who had those. Pitchback device for anyone who had those growing up in America, where you kick the ball into it and it kind of bounces back. We got about a third of so we ran a 32-person tournament. About a third of our users were new signups that we were able to get through our partnership with Futsal. A third of them were existing users that we were able to attract through our own promotions on social media and mail. And then the final third of users I had to fill with my dummy accounts that I use when tournaments don't fill up. So obviously it was slightly disappointing that we didn't get 32 users all engaged and excited about that. But we got the tournament full and it's running, and people seem to be interested and engaged with it. So that's always good. The big news on the Fan Futsal front, though, is the Supreme Court ruling on gambling. So for those who may not be following that story, or who may not be from America, in the United States, there was a law passed in 1992 that basically forbid gambling in America, and a couple states were grandfathered in, the big one being Nevada, which has traditional sports betting. That law was recently struck down by the Supreme Court, basically opening up gambling to happen in the United States now. And so there's still a lot of gray areas on this front, because it's basically opened it up to individual states can have their own legislation, and Congress, if it wanted to pass a federal law and have it apply to all states, that would obviously be ideal. That way you don't have to worry about what Pennsylvania is doing versus what's California doing versus what Illinois is doing, and so on and so forth. But my personal opinion, I think each state will have its own laws, which is going to make things a little bit frustrating. But the reason it applies to Fan Futsal is that we could not operate under a traditional model of taking, wagers or having people pay money and awarding prizes. That was forbidden under the gambling legislation that was passed in 1992. And so it's not to say that we are definitely going to explore, it's not to say that we're definitely going to shift everything to that model and charging entry fees and awarding prizes, but it just opens the door to more business models and ways for us to potentially make money. So right now there's no impact directly on fan futsal yet, but it just opens the door to more possibilities in the future. So it's exciting times. Lastly, we officially agreed to sponsor the World Cup, the soccer podcast and stand-up comedy tour this summer. It's called the World Cup Comedy Tour. They just launched their website, and you can find our sponsor logo on there. I know in the past I had been informing you on, just my negotiations with them and just going back and forth with them. So we got most things kind of finalized there. On the Soccer Tavern, for the Soccer Tavern YouTube channel, we released, I got to slow down here. For the Soccer Tavern YouTube channel, I released my soccer, man, my brain is a little fried right now, so I apologize. I released my Group A videos for the World Cup. And what I'm doing is I did national team history videos for all 32 teams at the World Cup. And going in order of those teams, so Group A, Group B, so on and so forth. And what I did was I have a little bit of information that's going to be applicable for the 2018 World Cup, but I also have information that's just general information that I think people will be interested in well beyond the World Cup. And so the goal with making these videos was obviously to capitalize and generate interest for them through using the World Cup, but they should also have a longer lifespan beyond just the World Cup. And so we released just our Group A videos. We released all of them, or I released all of them on Monday. All 4 videos came out Monday. That may have been a bit much. It's just we haven't seen a ton of views on them, and it may have just been kind of overload. I also announced them all and did all of my social media promotion at the same time. And so I either want to spread them out throughout the day if I'm going to release all 4 in one day, or really what I think I'm going to do is release 2 per day and again, stagger them a little bit to hopefully generate more interest there. I'm going to be working really hard these next 3 weeks. I got a lot of videos recorded before I went back east, but I was back east for about 3 weeks and only got 4 videos released. So I need to get 32 minutes. So I need to get 28 plus 1 additional. So 29 videos done in the next 3 weeks. Again, I have most of those already recorded, but the editing is going to take some time. So, I'm going to be working really, really hard. The main one being my World Cup overview video. I've already edited it down. It's about 15 minutes long, but it does a really detailed deep dive into how the World Cup works, meaning, from World Cup qualification in each of the confederations through the World Cup finals tournament, which is what we all kind of know as the World Cup. Technically, the World Cup is all qualification and everybody kind of partakes in the World Cup. So that's going to be the biggest piece to edit. And finally, on the Bros Talking Soccer front, we did a good, fun podcast this week. I recorded with my brother Christian. We were both at my parents' house, and Matt was back at Penn State. But I thought we had good rapport. It was a little bit, more fun, a little bit more humorous, and that was at the suggestion of Christian in the past, who said, let's try to make it a little bit more fun. And I thought we did a good job of that this week. Also, we cut down our topics to basically 1 topic per our first 2 sections. So we focused on we're going to be doing this in the future where we focus on England in one section and then the United States in one section, and then just all kind of catch-all stories in our 3rd section from world soccer. And that 3rd section is going to have a couple more topics. So that, I thought it went well. We did a deep dive into the FA Cup, and I thought that was really interesting. So that worked out really well. Also, our year-end recap piece that we are partnering with 90 Minutes at a Time, a blog focusing on the Premier League. We are writing a Man City and Liverpool opinion piece for them. So our very first one is going to go live this week. We did a year-end analysis, or not really an analysis, but just gave our thoughts on how the season went. That's going to be coming out this week. And then over the course of the summer, we'll probably do an article a month for them. And then when the season starts back up, we'll do an article per week. And so our first one's going live this week. So I'm really excited about that. Hopefully it's received well, and hopefully we can get a little bit more interest and attention for the Bros Talking Soccer podcast. And then our podcast that we're doing this upcoming week, we're not recording on Sunday. We're going to record on Monday because of the Memorial Day holiday. The Memorial Day holiday. That's what I'm trying to say. Christian's traveling and busy, and so we're going to record on Monday. And we're going to have a special guest, a guy named Brian, who's a soccer freelancer, reached out to me on Twitter, and so we're going to have him on. He's a PSG fan, lives out in LA, and so we're gonna have him on, and I'm always excited to have guests on, get a different perspective, and just provide a different voice, because I always think that's good. So that brings us to the end of another entrepreneur vlog. Thank you very much for tuning in and checking it out. As always, you can always reach out to me, leave a comment on here if you want to get in contact with me. My email is dave@fanfutsal.com. And on Twitter, I'm at dknits11. Our brands are at fan_futsal is the Fan Futsal Twitter, at the Soccer Tavern is our Soccer Tavern Twitter, and at BT Soccer Pod is our Bros Talking Soccer Twitter. So please give them a follow. Feel free to reach out. And thank you again for tuning in. I hope you all have a great week, and I will talk to you again next Wednesday. See you, everyone. Bye.